Happy Friday, friends. I got such a good response to my morning routine video that I thought it would be fun to bring you along with me in a weekend routine, Friday night through Sunday night, to give you a look into what a typical normal-ish weekend looks like for me and how I infuse creativity into it. And for me, the best way to kick off a Friday is to celebrate. So if I'm home, I love making my own cocktail, not just to have a drink, but also to go through the process of making one. I find that it kind of calms me down, makes me slow down a little bit. And right now on this Friday, I feel like my head is still in a million places. It's still thinking about all the loose ends, the text messages that I have yet to answer, the emails that I have yet to answer. Having some kind of wind down Friday ritual is a really healthy thing. I'm gonna walk you through the process of making my favorite cocktail of the moment. It's called a 1934 Cosmo. And if you'd like to make this cocktail with me, here's what you need. After my cocktail was ready, I went and sat on the couch so that I could finish the movie I had started the night before but hadn't quite finished. I've been really into Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy movies lately, and this one is called Woman of the Year. As always, I'm joined by one of my kitty friends. It is around 8:30. I finished my movie, washed my face, did my skincare routine, already in PJs, and I'm about to put some cookies in the oven, make some popcorn, and I'm got my AirPods in because I'm finishing listening to a podcast while I'm doing that and just finishing cleaning up the kitchen. Probably gonna go upstairs, cuddle with the kitties, and maybe watch some YouTube or watch another old movie. This is life as I look toward my 40s.
Some girls, they want the moon, handed down by this week's buffoon, but my heart makes no such thing.
Since I shared my 5-minute easy makeup routine in my morning routine video, I thought that I would share my more full makeup look with you today, which is still pretty simple. I'm recording a podcast for creatives this morning, and I typically try to put makeup on for that since we repurpose the video for social media and for YouTube. So here's my routine. podcasting by showing you how I set up for it, which is a lot different than setting up for shooting videos like this. Even though we do repurpose the recording of it, it is very a static set. So once I get it set up, everything just stays in place. Here's what I do to set up. Podcasting is done. I'm sitting in the parking lot of Whole Foods, about to go in and do my grocery shopping. I've been the absolute worst with meal planning and meal prepping. I feel like I go to the supermarket every other day or order groceries every other day, yet I still never have anything to make for dinner. So I do have a list. I have somewhat of a plan. Let's see how we do. To unpack the bags, and I thought that I would show you what I bought. This is probably one of my least favorite tasks, unloading groceries and putting them in the fridge, so hopefully this will make it a little bit more fun. First, flowers, we will take care of putting that in a vase in a minute. I'm going to put those over to the side. First are these corn and flour tortillas. It's kind of weird to me that Whole Foods keeps these in the freezer section, but I have found in making tacos, the tacos that I'm going to make later this week, that these ones hold together much better than just traditional corn tortillas. Also for the freezer, corn. This is my husband's favorite. He would have that with just about any meal. We were out of coffee beans for our espresso machine, so I have to restock on those. I feel like I need a cup of it right now. I'm gonna mispronounce this. Tzatziki sauce. This is a really easy lunch meal that I have been making lately, where I cook up some chicken tenders, cut up some vegetables, cucumbers, tomatoes, some red onion, and then put it on a piece of naan bread with a dollop of this, and quick, easy, and delicious. Neither of us are dairy-free, but I prefer to use almond milk when I make oatmeal and smoothies. Nut pods, this is my go-to espresso creamer when I make my steamed milk in the machine. Maybe I'll try to make one tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll link to another video where I make it. This is what I use. It's creamy, it's delicious, and dairy-free. Again, not that I completely try to avoid dairy, but I've kind of just gotten attached to drinking that. Bacon. I love making bacon with Brussels sprouts, and I feel like I have finally nailed a recipe that tastes good to me. All right, I got 2 cans of beans, 1 can of black beans that I'm gonna use to make rice and beans to go with my buffalo chicken tacos that I'm gonna make sometime next week. And then I like to keep these dark red kidney beans on hand because this is kind of a last minute when I don't know what to make. I can very easily throw together pasta fagioli, which is kidney beans, some red sauce, and a special kind of pasta called Ditalini, but you can also use any kind of other small pasta. Also, of course, throw in some extra garlic to make it extra Italian. It's one of my husband and I's favorite easy go-to meals. I go through olive oil quite quickly, so we are out of olive oil and restocking on that. Got buffalo wing sauce to make buffalo chicken tacos. This is one of the easiest and a family favorite recipe, not just for our family, me and my husband, but my husband's family also really enjoys them. So anytime they're in town, I make them, and they haven't been in town in a while. So I feel like we've been missing them and thought it would be a nice, easy dinner to throw on the schedule for later this week. I got some coleslaw mix to be used for 2 meals. Egg roll in a bowl, really just like a stir fry with pork, and throw some of this in. And then I'm also gonna keep a little bit of it to the side to use for the buffalo chicken tacos. We use that kind of instead of lettuce, some coleslaw on top, which I think tastes delicious. And last out of here, somewhat controversial for an Italian girl, but lately I've been lazy about making my own sauce, and I think Rao's tastes just as good as what I make, and my husband and I really like this arrabbiata variety, which has a little bit of a kick to it, and then sometimes I even throw in some more red pepper flakes to make it even spicier. But this is the sauce that I use when I make pasta fagioli. We kind of enjoy a spicy variation of it. And this next bag is mostly produce items. Bananas, Brussels sprouts, these will go with the bacon. Avocados I got to be included in the buffalo chicken tacos. And I don't know, it's another item that I just, if it's on sale, I usually just buy them to have in the house. Cucumber, I almost always have a couple cucumbers in the fridge to cut up as an easy, healthy snack. And it also tastes really good with the tzatziki if you wanna use it in dip form. Red onion, apples, this is kind of a go-to breakfast item for me. I just slice up half an apple and have it with a spoon of peanut butter. Tomato to go with the gyros. Green onion, another refrigerator staple for me. Use these for quite a few different things, but I did get these specifically for the egg roll in a bowl that we'll be making later tonight. And these carrots, also sort of a staple. Never know when you might need them, or, you know, obviously they also make a really good healthy snack, but I do need them for the egg roll in the bowl recipe. And in our last bag, we have the 2 meat items, the chicken tenders. I always try to buy organic meat when at all possible. I know it's a little bit more expensive, but I mostly try to eat organic, but obviously you can see here, I'm not strict about it. So I got this, the organic chicken tenderloins, and I will cook these on the stove and then cut them up and put them in that naan or pita bread with the tzatziki, the red onion, the tomato, and the cucumber. And then these chicken thighs, I will throw in the Instant Pot with the buffalo sauce and some spices, and that is the base for the buffalo chicken tacos. So I'll link to all the recipes that I mentioned. That is everything. I'm gonna get all this stuff into the fridge and then check back in. I had every intention of doing a workout this afternoon, but because I work out most days, I let myself off the hook on days either that I'm traveling or I am just listening to what my body's telling me, and my energy level is probably a -5. I'm having a hard time even forming sentences, which is great for vlogging. I should probably take a nap, but I'm not a great napper. I have a hard time relaxing to the point that it's actually beneficial for me. So instead, I have a lot of podcast editing to do. I have 2 podcasts for creatives episodes to edit, and then 1 for film to table. So I'm gonna go get a head start on that. That's something that I can work on that's pretty mindless, doesn't take a lot of brain power, and I'm gonna let myself get cozy, do that on the couch upstairs in my office. But first, I need to make myself a cup of Earl Grey. Otherwise, without some more caffeine, I'm not making it through this day. decided to do a switcheroo for dinner. I'm gonna make ravioli. It's so cold out and I'm in the mood for something just really warm and cozy and comforting. And I couldn't think of anything more comforting than my favorite food, my favorite dinner, like since I was a little kid, is ravioli. So it's gonna be really easy to put together. I'll bring you with me throughout the process and we'll get it plated up pretty quickly. Sunny day, but it's still very chilly. I'm about to put the heat on here in my office. Last night was nice and relaxing. I did a little bit of a spa night, showered, did a hair mask, did a face mask, took my nail polish off, and then got cozy on the couch and I watched How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, which is one of the movies that my sister Laura and I are reviewing for our podcast, Film to Table, that we're gonna be recording later this week. My husband and I are headed out for a special date this afternoon. So this morning I'm going to finish editing up a podcast for creative so I can send that to Steve so he can do the social media cutting and do some laundry and make some breakfast. So let's go start with that. Breakfast, and now I'm gonna make an espresso to bring upstairs with me while I edit my podcast. But one other thing that I'm gonna do with the espresso machine is do a full clean out. I'm gonna empty the water basin, I'm gonna fill up the water that's needed to make the espresso, completely fill up where the coffee beans go. And this is kind of just the spirit that I like to take into Sundays, which is to do little things for future me that's gonna make the week easier. And this is one of those things. There's nothing more annoying when I'm making an espresso and the bottom part is leaking because it needs to be emptied, or I'm out of coffee beans, or I'm out of water. And doing that today while I have the time and space is my little way of being kind to myself in a few days from now. thought that I would walk you through all of the questions that I ask myself at the end of each week and prepare for the next week. And if you currently don't do a practice like this, I thought it would be a good opportunity to prompt you with thoughts or ideas that will help you go into Monday feeling strong. And if you've ever thought about getting the full focus planner, so far so good. I kind of bought into it. After a week of using it, I went ahead and ordered 3 more of them that will bring me through the end of this year. But I think doing this Sunday ritual of reflection and ensuring that I'm feeling centered going into the new week has been my favorite aspect of using it. So let's go through this together. If you are doing this with me in real time, all you need is paper and a pen or your computer, wherever you feel like writing. So I'll give you a little visual of what it looks like before I fill it out. I will do a full review of the full focus planner, but I want to wait until the end of the quarter. I feel like I need until the end of the quarter to give you a really good, honest assessment as to how I think using this planner has helped me achieve my goals, which is the main reason that I purchased it to begin with. But for now, let's just talk about the weekly preview. This is what it looks like. It is 2 pages, or it's 2 spreads. I'm gonna fill in today's date. And the first step is to list your biggest wins. And you can list 3 to 5 major accomplishments from the last week. Step 2 is called the after action review, and it has you refer to your last weekly big 3, which is something that it's the last step in this process. So it's asking you, how far did you get? So last week I had assigned myself 3 tasks that I wanted to complete by the end of this week. So in this step 2, you're gonna write all 3 of those down and then write the percentage of how much you completed it. And this is my favorite part of doing this entire weekly preview, to answer these 2 questions. And we're still in step 2 here. What worked and what didn't work? And the second question is, what will you keep, improve, start, or stop doing? I don't do any kind of journaling, so this is as close as I get to a journal, where I get really honest with myself. If I fell short, because last week when I was filling this out, for my weekly big 3, I completed 0% of 2 of my 3 and something like 50% of the other ones. So I really had a lot to reflect on as to why I didn't get those 3 things done. And it's often a lot more inner work that I have to do than, oh, I just didn't have the time to do it. Oftentimes we let ourselves think that, oh, I'm too busy, or I had too many things to do, and that, that is a truth. But if it is important enough to you and you're feeling aligned enough to be able to take action, you will get it done. So in this second question, though, what will you keep, improve, start, or stop doing? I try to give myself some encouragement here to not be judgmental as to why I may or may not have gotten that task done, but try to offer myself a different perspective so that I can give it another try in the coming week. Step 3 is called the list sweep, and it's asking us to process action items and then consider our next steps. And then they have a list of kind of their 4 classifications. So what I like to do on this step is, since at the end of every day, I automatically move over anything that I had not yet gotten done that needs to still get done to the next day. So at this point, I look back on my last day, which for me in this week was Thursday because I took Friday as a personal day. I am reviewing that list, and I'm going to transfer any of those items that have not been completed into my weekly overview, which is broken down between personal and professional. I typically don't write too much down in the personal section, and then most times I run out of room in the professional section because I get overzealous, because it ends up being a combination of what I didn't get done in the prior week and what I want to get done in the coming week. And moving on to the second spread, this is where you can write down any appointments. I use these pages for content releases, not exactly as a content planner with details about my content, but I might say something like Wednesday, YouTube release for Michelle Hickey Design, Tuesday, Film to Table podcast release, Thursday, a podcast for creatives release. And if I have any notable piece of social media content that needs to go out, if it's a sponsored piece of content or some sort of announcement, I'll often put that on this page as well. And then any personal or work-related meeting appointments will go here too. And then moving on to our last page, step 5 is where you list out that weekly big 3. So it's 3 objectives that are going to help advance your goals and projects for the week. And it's at this point in every week that I like to refer back to the front pages of my full focus planner, where I have written down my main objectives and goals for the year, and then more specifically for this quarter. So all of these weekly big 3 should be in support of your bigger goals. It can be hard to keep going every week and to keep making progress when you feel like things are moving really slowly. And for me, I will share one of my big goals, because I think that I've already shared it in another video, is to get my YouTube subscribers up to 2,000. That was a goal I made at the beginning of the year, and my end date that I established for myself was the end of Q1. And at the pace things are going now, it does not look like I'm going to make that goal, but the important thing is I'm still making steady progress every week, and I do attribute that to reviewing that goal every morning, reviewing that goal again at the end of each day, and then making one of my weekly big 3 goals somehow connected to continuing to move that needle forward, even if the needle is moving slowly. And lastly, for step 6 is the self-care planner. So it asks you to brainstorm below and then schedule your rejuvenation on the daily pages. And I will be honest with you here, this is the area of the planner that I use the least, but it's also the area of my life that I feel like I have not prioritized and I'm not exactly the best at. I mean, some of these, it kind of has it broken down into 5 categories: sleep, eat, move, connect, and relax. My sleeping, I do really feel like I have under control, and I don't feel like I need to write down anything, like go to bed by a certain time or set an alarm, wake up at a certain time. I'm in a really good rhythm when it comes to that. Same with eating. I have a sweet tooth, so I'm not always the healthiest person, but for the most part, I try to incorporate greens into my diet, and I feel pretty physically healthy. So that's not an area where I feel like I want to dedicate a whole lot of my brain energy right now. And I would say the same with the move category. I do work out almost every day. We try to go for a walk every day on top of that. So I don't feel like I need to actually schedule anything. But these last 2 items, connect and relax, are areas that I need to work on, especially the relaxing part. I kind of go until I drop. Maybe because I'm sharing this with you this week, I'm gonna put myself on the hook to actually write something down. I hope that you enjoyed an overview of going through what a weekly preview looks like using the Full Focus Planner. If you're interested in checking it out, I will link to it below. I should also mention this comes from Michael Hyatt. You may recognize his name. And if you're on the fence about whether or not a planner like this would work for you and your goal setting, I recommend either listening to Michael and his daughter Megan's podcast to kind of familiarize yourself with their brand and their style, because I definitely do not think that this is for everyone, but it is in the style that appeals to me and the way that my brain works. You also may want to check out one of their books, and they just had a new book that came out at the end of January. So I will link to that book along with the book that I read by Michael Hyatt at the beginning of this year. I'm going to take my time to fill all of this out, and then we'll go ahead and make dinner, and then it's time to do some of that relaxing. Thanks so much for spending the weekend with me. I had a lot of fun sharing my weekend routine with you, and I hope that you enjoyed it and found some inspiration for making your own weekends fun and creative from me and 2 of the 3 kitties. Until we meet again, get out there and make something beautiful.